Hi, my name's Jen. Welcome to my channel, All My Plants. Today's video I have some plant care, a lot of plant care. Basically I'm just checking them over for pests. I clean some plants, I propagate some plants, I water a lot of plants, I remove dead leaves, just all the planty things. Because I've fallen behind on a lot of it, I have a lot of it to do. I spent all day, well not all day, all afternoon yesterday doing that, well into the evening, and there's still a lot more. A lot more. I haven't even started on repotting and moss poles. So yeah, that's next, but for now, let's get to the video. So I'm just bringing the plants out of this room that I'm currently in. I think these are mostly going to be Hoyas. Those little ones there, you can see I'm pulling them out of cover pots to put on that rack there. They are, when they're dry, when the pot is dry, they just want to fall over, and it's really obnoxious. I'm constantly trying to keep them from falling over and spilling their dirt out. I fight with them for like way too long. That rack that they're sitting on, it's the same thing I use in my, look at the cat, Pishak. I'm not calling him dirty things, that's Gallic for kitten. Eating my plant as soon as I walk away. But anyway, that rack is the same thing I use in the cabinet, and it's like shelf rack, like you can get it from big box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot, I guess. And I stopped using that in the cabinet. Look at them plants falling over. What a mess. But yeah, it works pretty good for holding things up above the sink so that they can drain through. And I don't have to clean out the sink that way. Well, I do after I'm done watering, but I don't have to move all the stuff out of it. Not that there's anything much in it. Like, you can see there, I have a dishwasher. It's right there. Nobody uses it, though. They think I'm the dishwasher. Anyway, I go through this every, probably about 3 days with those Hoyas. A lot of them need to be repotted. Oh, angle change. And that bit of counter that you just saw, that's the only bit of counter that I have in my kitchen. Like anywhere in my house, actually. That is the only counter. There really weren't any when we moved in here, so we just put that piece there to hold the sink. I'm trying to think if there was even a sink in here. I don't think there was a sink in here. They had torn it out. But that's where we put it. That tall plant right there is a pain in my butt. I can't remember what that Hoya is called. I'll put it on screen because, like, my name, my name, my memory with names is not awesome. But yeah, these Hoyas, every 3 days or so, I have to drag them out here. It's gonna fall over again. I know it. I can't remember. I just did this yesterday. Look, I'm paranoid. There it goes. But every 3 days they need water. They just dry out really, really fast. This room that I'm in here, there is like a heater in here. I don't know if you've seen it in any of my videos, but it's an electric heater or an electric fireplace. It's massive. It takes up a ton of room. I'm questioning how bad I want it in here, but it's what we got. But once again, it's a very dry heat. It's, forced hot air, so now I'm coming back to see if they're dry, if I can move any. All tangled together. Some of them I should really trim or propagate. I just haven't gotten around to it. I will at some point. I'll have to. Some of them I have, some of them I haven't. I was going to say hain't. That's a different thing, Jen. I love that little lacanosa that I just put down over there on the left. It's such a good plant. It's one that grows in, and it looks kind of variegated when they first, new leaves grow in, but it's not. They harden back off to a really dark green. Yeah, but I like that plant. Oh, there's my little pothos, or Epipremnum pennatum aureum, or aurea, something like that. Yellow flame, I can't remember what it was called. It looks to be reverted to me. Like, I think the last 3 leaves have been all green. So we probably need to cut that as well. And it's a thirsty little thing. A lot of those plants that are in those little bitty cups really need to come out of them, because it's some of them every other day they need to be watered rather than on the every third or fourth day. Oh, another angle change. Oh, because I'm coming with the big plants. I love that plant. It's a Marble Queen Pothos, Snow Queen variety. It's like, it's more white than green. I guess it kind of looks more yellow underneath that light. I love that plant also. That is just my regular old heartleaf philodendron. Actually, it's a frankenpot. It's mostly just plain green heartleaf philodendron, but there's also some Cebu blue pothos, and it's so long, and Brazil, I think, in there maybe. I can't remember. I just, when I break plants, I tend to just stick them in a pot and see if they grow. If I snap something off moving it or whatever. So yeah, I'm just watering, trying to get in there. The That one there is so foliage heavy, like it has a full head still. I grew that from 2 little 4-inch starter plants. Now it's taken 3 years, I think, maybe 4, I'm not sure, to get it that big, but, and it's probably in a 10 or 12-inch pot. It's in a pretty big pot. Oh, adult juice. we We've taken our sweet time getting there, but look, it's all tangled up. We've lost some leaves on the vines. Like, some of the vines are kind of like have bare spots, and it really should be propagated or trimmed at this point. Dumping extra water out, but I just don't want to. I don't want to cut it. I think it's so pretty. This one here is a pain. I step on it and trip on it and everything else because it's just so long. I don't know how long that is. 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet. It hangs on a thing probably 2 feet above my head and it still touches the floor. I like that one too. That's been an easy plant. That is what, neon? It's not pothos. Lemon lime philodendron. I think that's what it's called. It's just a heart leaf that's that really yellow color. And that there is a mixed pot of Enjoy and Pearls and Jade pothos next to it. That lemon lime or whatever it is there, that really needs to be repotted at this point. But I don't like to repot dry plants. I like them to be somewhat hydrated. That one it's dry all the time. So where I just watered it last night, maybe I can get that repotted in the next few days. It's just the soil is hydrophobic at this point. That plant I'm watering now, the pothos, it's Enjoy and Pearls and Jade. Some of it has gone all just jade. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it for that. Like, it can do whatever it wants. I think that's pretty too. My husband's talking to me off camera. But that one there, it's in a massive pot as well. And I also grew that. I think I got the Enjoy as cuttings in a trade. And then the Pearls and Jade, our local big box stores had a bunch of them kind of off and on a couple years ago. So it was a 4-inch starter. And once again, it's in like a 12-inch pot, I think. Hanging basket, whatever you want to call it. I'm just looking for dead stuff that's kind of, in there, might like mold or mildew. And also I cut off like a piece of a vine that had just quit. It was turning yellow, so I cut that off out of there. So I usually don't, like I said, I usually don't worry about dead leaves. I just kind of leave them on there till they fall off on their own. But these here, they hang where people walk. So the dead leaves tend to fall off on my stairs or in my laundry room. So if they don't fall off, I do go ahead and get them when I'm watering. And I move every single plant when I water it. There's only maybe 3 or 4 that I don't move, and it's mostly because I can't. Even the big ones on the poles, I move those. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting, sheaves or dead leaves or whatever, pulling them out. But yeah, everything, the ones that are too big to put there, I put in my shower. And I pretty much water them all the same way. It's just in the shower, it's easier for bigger plants. If I'm particularly lazy and I don't plan to fertilize, I'm also fertilizing every single plant as I put it up here, checking for pests, etc. But if I don't plan to fertilize it, I can just pitch it in the shower and I'll just blast it with the sprayer. But all of these are getting fertilized. That's why I'm using a watering can rather than just hosing them. I have like one of those pump sprayer things, but another camera angle, and it's still not up high enough. But they leak. Like I'll pump it up, even though I'm sure I've got it on there tight and the seals are in place. It'll push water out of the top around where you open it to refill it, and that's not great all over my floors. That poor Monstera alba, you see that all white leaf there? That thing's been hanging in there for, I'm gonna say 6 or 7 weeks now, maybe even 2 months. That what is it? I can never remember the name. Wayeti or whatever it is, Wayeti or Kentiana. That all green one, it's doing pretty good. It's hanging in there. It's hanging in there. Somebody asked if I got that at a big box store. Yes, I did. My local Lowe's had them come in. I'm just clipping off, like, some of the growing points have died back here and there. So I'm clipping off, like, the brown bits. It actually doesn't have much new growth, if I recall. I didn't see a whole lot of new growth going on that guy. The variegated one has a little bit right now, but that one there really doesn't. But it grew quite a bit, I think, in the fall. Like in the fall and summer. It keeps getting hung up in the grate. I don't think I actually broke anybody last night watering though, which is Mesozane. So many little, like, there's a whole handful of them there. I don't know if you can tell I'm trying to scrape them off the counter. And the trash can is behind you. Yeah. I'm just dumping that like down over the top of the pole because I want it to filter through the pole. And I think I do that like 87 times, like a lot of times before I actually get it to where it looks saturated. Well, half moon leaf getting crispy on the edge. Most of that particular Monstera, it's not full on green, but it has very little white, or it has too much white. It's one or the other. I think it's four of them in there. I have 5 total. One's on a trellis, just kind of sitting in a box that I made, which I need to post that video at some point. I will. But anyway, it's just kind of sitting there. And that one has every other leaf variegation. This one here, some leaves aren't variegated at all, or they have very low variegation. And then I have the one that likes to spit out white leaves. There's 4 of them in there at varying states of rage. It's such a pain in the butt getting these poles wet. And like the bottle method, it works for some of them just fine, but it takes forever. That takes a while. And sometimes I just want the plant watered so I can put it back. Because the bottle method, they leak onto my floor. Or if I have them in a cover pot, I forget to empty the cover pot. That's my phone. That's orchid mist. I don't know if you could read it during my drive-by. Let me mute my phone. And I don't know if it helps or not. I really have no clue. But I use it because it's not hurting anything. So I just give everybody a little spritz. I also do some of my succulents with it. Not that I have many, but yeah, I'll give them a spritz too. More water for the Monstera pole. It's getting there. And I don't really water the pot because as it drains through the pole, it will completely saturate that soil. That's a pretty big pot. Like I said, there's four Monsteras in it with full root systems. What is that? Oh, I'm checking on my euphorbia. I'm trying to see if it needs water. That's not a euphorbia. What is that thing called? Is it euphorbia? Euphorbia trigona or something like that? I don't know. But no, it didn't need water. It sits right by my door. and enjoys the full sun it gets. Still water in this thing. It's amazing how much water it takes for these poles. Oh, that poor micans. That is my micans. One of them anyway. Philodendron micans. I'm checking that's my prop box there. That's stuff that came out of my terrarium. I just trimmed some stuff because it was going ham in there. And I'm just looking to see if there's any bits of that micans that are rooted enough. That lighting is terrible, Jen. Nobody can see anything. There's micans in there. There's melanochrysum, some Polonia, Pulchra, and Repens. They might have been reclassified, I'm not sure. But there's some of those in there. Just odds and ends. So I'm just checking to see if there's any. I want them, number one, rooted, which most of them have some roots, but rooted and new growth because of where I'm putting it in the pot. I don't want it to get like lost and buried in that chaos. I'm not sure how many I find. I think it was 3, maybe 4, because that micans is like super bald on top. Doesn't have a lot going on. It's very sparse. There's a lot of dead leaves on it. It's been angry. It's been underwater. The soil in it is mostly hydrophobic at this point. It's hard to water. And then when you do water it, it's so saturated and it hangs onto that for longer than it should. It just takes so much to actually get it to hold water that it never lets it go after that. The soil quality has degraded. But anyway, I need to cut that whole thing up. Or at least give it a massive trim. Look at that poor thing. It's more vine than leaf. A lot of dead leaves. A lot of dying leaves. There is some new growth there on top, but it doesn't look great. That was a beautiful plant once upon a time. It really was. I don't think I put that one outside over the summer. I think it just hung in my handy dandy laundry room workspace, and it could have used a summer vacation. It's getting one this year, but first it needs some maintenance and care. For now, though, I'm just gonna. You'll see me do it. I'm just gonna poke those right in there, make sure that the roots are covered, tuck it in, and hope for the best. Because until I do, I don't know when I'm gonna trim or repot this poor thing. But until I do, I would like to at least get those going and used to it. I think I repotted this one when I first got it anyway, because it was in a block of it looked like peat or cocoa peat, whatever it was, and I just didn't love the substrate, so I think I switched it out. But yeah, I was tucking them in. I love that plant. I don't know how I let it get that bad. Actually, yeah, I do. It's just been underwatered, overwatered, in a dark corner. All the things that would make a plant angry, I've done to that plant. I gotta do better. I don't know, life just happens, and sometimes plants kind of get lost in the fray or neglected. It just happens. It's normal, and it's okay. And for the most part, if you catch them soon enough anyway, you can fix the problem. You can improve. Oh, you can actually kind of see the top of the pole in this angle. Yeah, that right there, what you see, is all of the counter space we have. There's a lot on that counter. There's no room to cook there. But I have an island on wheels that I kind of push around to, make up for the fact that I have 0 counter. I think I'm looking to see if there's how some plants have with the attached saucer, they have like a lip, and that's where you would pour out any excess water. This plant doesn't have that, but I was convinced it did, so I was looking for it. I bet you if I go check that plant right now, there's more water just sitting in the bottom. Again, it happens. Oh, that is another ZZ plant. That's not the raven, that's it's slightly variegated. It's not mine, it's my daughter's, my youngest daughter's. It also lives on a stairway where it never sees the light of day. That one I think I saw two places where it's gonna grow, but there's no new fronds actually fronding yet. Um, but yeah, that one's kind of variegated. It's so dirty. I'm like checking it out. I'm like, ew, go get a washcloth. I sped this up because I sat there and lovingly wiped every single leaf for like 40 minutes. No, it wasn't that long. It didn't take that long. But yeah, they were just really, really dusty. Like there's no way that it could get any light. Like I said, it wouldn't know what a window looked like. But what light there is, I would like it to be able to get some. This one's done really well. She got it in a little bitty, I want to say a 3-inch or 4-inch pot. Because it had, a couple variegated leaves, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll grab this. And it's done really well. I think is that a 6-inch pot, 8-inch pot? Somewhere in that neighborhood. More water, because it was dry, really, really dry. And I'm just pulling out like some sheaths and dried bits. I don't do that every time I water, but I guess I figured I was there, I might as well do that. Just pretty it up a little bit. It had a broken leaf that I meant to cut off too, and I didn't. It's still on there, back on the stairway. Now I'm plotting on this plant. I'm thinking thoughts. Look at me checking it out. Like, oh, you're still dirty. More wipey wipey. It was really, really bad. I think my battery died there. Time to put the micins back. I always tip the pot because sometimes like water will just kind of like accumulate in the nooks and crannies at the bottom. So if you tip it, they go away. One of the little bitty ones. This one here is one of those pots where water just accumulates. So I tip it and smack the hell out of it until I get anything excess out of there. Because like I said, it sits on my stairs. I don't have carpeted stairs or anything. Because carpet keeps secrets, and I don't need any more secrets in this house. I love that little Hoya. What is that? Carnosa Crimson Princess. That's what it is. And it's dusty and dry. That one hangs in front of a window that is kind of southwestish facing. So it dries really, really fast. It gets quite a bit of sun compared to, the other windows in my house. There's a couple that get good sun, but not many. It's dusty. That is just water. I'm just like spraying it until it literally starts running off the plant. Front, back, sides, just drenching it. And I do that to a lot of plants. Like, rather than full-on blast them, I just mist them forever. I mean, I guess I could blast them off a lot faster if I just use, like, the handheld sprayer thing that's right there on that sink. But, I don't know. I don't mind. I don't mind that it takes a while. It just gives me more time to fidget with the plant. And I do like to fidget with my plants. I think I just gave it a while to dry. More orchid mist, because that stuff is magical. I don't know if it is or not. I swear by it. It makes sense in theory, They do have like a cuticle or a pore or whatever that opens. So it makes sense that they could take in nutrients through the leaves. More water because it's still dry. I still haven't repotted that one either. A massive amount of my plants are still in whatever pot and substrate they came in. I don't know, I kind of live by if it's not broke, don't fix it. Plotting on this plant again. Oh, there's the broken leaf kind of dangling there to the left. I'm checking it out. I'm trying to see what's variegated and what's not. Not every frond is variegated, and the ones that are don't have the highest variegation. Yeah, I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it. She told me I could. She's like, yeah, if you want to try to isolate that and get better variegation, on future parts or whatever. So I just lobbed it off. You can see, I think it's that top leaf to the right. Yeah, there's a little bit there. There's not ever much on it. Some down there like speckling. But yeah. And I literally just cut it. Just chopped it. Not right to the soil level because I don't want like the moisture to get into where I made the cut on the, I guess now the mother plant, and potentially rot it that way. So I cut it just above the soil level. I'll let it dry out. It'll be fine. I'm looking for another good one. Like I said, none of them are really great. I mean, it's pretty, even if it's not variegated. I do like ZZ plants. I know they take forever to root. Yeah, you can see a little bit of variegation there. That light is not great. Not great. That's just my normal house light. And it's dark at this point. It's nighttime now. You can see a little bit. There's some on the back. Out of focus, but it's there. Yeah. They take forever to root. I think I've only propagated ZZs a few times, and it does take ages. The roots come pretty fast, I guess, compared to how long it takes to actually show new growth. Ages. Ages, I say. I mean, once it does start sprouting, it's pretty well good to go, but till then, it's a minute. I go put it back and let it drip on my stairs. That thing there, it's some sort of orchid cactus. Epiphyllum hookeri, maybe? That flowered quite profusely over the summer. It set fruit. And I actually took that fruit and, took the seeds out of it and planted them, and they're growing now. If I remember, I'll put in, a picture here of both the fruit, the seeds, and what they look like now. It's dry. And it's also a dust collector. I guess it's all those little curves and curls and nooks and crannies. But I like that plant. It definitely needs a repot. I don't know, I haven't actually pulled it out to look at the roots. I'm just guessing by the amount of growth and the fact that it's kind of dropped right off now that it could use a repot. That Hoya, what is it? I always want to say orbifolia. That's not right. Obovata? There we go. That has spider mites, or I guess it does. I saw a lot of really thick webbing here and there. It was neglected upstairs in my daughter's room. So I'm saturating the whole plant, front and back of the leaves, the stems, everything. Just a good saturation. That is step 1 of my spider mite treatment. And I don't expect everything that I've done to this plant here to completely eradicate them. I just want to knock them down and get them under control. For now, because this plant it's back up there in the room of neglect. I don't know, I don't feel like I've had much time lately to really baby my plants. It's like a busy kind of time of year around here. We're getting ready to go crabbing. My husband oysters in the winter too, but we'll get ready to knock it over. But that takes significantly less planning and work on my part, the oystering. So, but the crabbing is kind of all hands on deck. I guess I'm just rinsing that off too, especially since I just set it next to the spider mite plant. I don't think I've ever had any pests on that one yet, that epiphyllum. Such a good little plant. So cute. Little bitty dead end, and I cut it off. Some Captain Jacks for the spider mites. I know it didn't seem like it, but I did kind of walk away for a while and let that water just dry or run off So now I'm just spraying it with a Captain Jack's. It's not great. I got it all over my dishes, and I did not think about it at this time. I thought about it this morning. So all that stuff had to go in the dishwasher. But I think, don't quote me on that, but I think it's generally considered non-toxic. Spinosad or whatever it is that's in there. That doesn't mean I'm going to drink it or anything. But I still would like wash my hands, wipe down anything that got hit with the overspray. Just a suggestion. So yeah, now I'm just making sure it's made contact with front and back side of every single leaf. That's why I sped it up, because this actually took me a while. This took me a while. Like I said, I didn't see any actual damage, but I saw like heavy webbing. Now I'm just going to take some soap. I didn't spray it on the plant. I sprayed it on my cloth and did the same thing. Front and back side of every single leaf. Because sometimes, like, I like Spinosad. I like Captain Jack's. I do. And I think it works great for numerous pests, but I also think like mechanical, like the actual wiping of the leaf helps. That and the soap method is also pretty good at like suffocating and discouraging most pests from hanging around or taking up residence. So I would probably have to do it again in a couple days. I don't know, I'll check it out and see how it looks. But it's very seldom is stuff one and done with plants, whether it's pest control or, you know, anything like that. I think I just let it sit and dry a little while before I came back and watered it again. It was very dry. Very dry. It still has peduncles all over it, but they have never done a thing yet. But I've only had that plant a year maybe. Oh yeah, we're going to hit it with even more moisture. The orchid mist. I figure it can't hurt if I spray it over and over and over with things. If nothing else, the spider mites are very well hydrated. Okay, I'm just taking some of the plant water, which I don't know if you've noticed, but I do put, can't remember if I even showed it, like fertilizer in there with water. It's like concentrated, so it's half water, half fertilizer. That's just what I filled the cup with, is the same stuff I've been watering the plants with. Then I put it away, let that obovata sit even longer. That there is Philodendron Brazil. That's the one, I think I got it last spring, so I've had it maybe a year. It was like just barely over the edge of the pot, I believe, when I got it. Maybe it was Mother's Day. That sounds right. But anyway, it's the one I said that hangs above my bed, like sits on a shelf and hangs down off the shelf. I did have to move that. I made a joke saying, yeah, I'm just going to put it up there, and then maybe one day it'll like tickle my face and I'll go to swat the vine out of the way and pull it down the pot, because it sits in a heavy cover pot on my head. So that's not exactly what happened. That's not exactly why it's been moved. It's been moved because my cat, not my cat actually, my daughter's cat, the youngest girl, that cat will come in and mess with, well, you saw, he messes with all the things, all the plants. And I was out of water again, and I was terrified. There's the fertilizer. That one's fertilizer, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, he'll mess with things, and I was afraid that he was going to snatch it down on my face or something in the middle of the night, you know, trying to swing off a vine or something. So, yeah, it doesn't live there anymore, because it is that long that it will dangle this far from my face, maybe, while I'm laying in bed. So yeah, to avoid a concussion, I moved it. Now I'm just waiting for them to dry. Oh, humidifier. This is another part of plant chores. I think that's a 1.5 gallon water reservoir. I just don't want that plant to leak, so I put it in a cash bowl, cover pot. This thing, my water is so slow. Like, this is sped up and it still takes forever to fill up. But that one there, it says that it's fine with tap water, and I've been using it, I want to say since September or October. Homedics, maybe, is the brand, with tap water, and our tap water is wretched. But yeah, so far I haven't had any problems with like having to scrape off any, gunk, like hard water or calcium deposits or anything like that off of the humidifier itself. I just take a Q-tip and wipe the like atomizer or whatever, the the little thing that makes the misty mist happen. I just wipe that down every couple days. Good to go. Such terrible water pressure. I look thrilled about it too. Doody doody doo. But anyway, I really do like that humidifier. Gallon and a half of water. I keep it set to 45% because it's the kind you can adjust. And you can adjust how much mist comes out. So it's like on the maximum mist setting at 45%, and it runs out in 24 hours. Now, if it's lower, it automatically kicks on and off. If it's set lower, or if the humidity in the house is already pretty close to that, it'll last longer. But it also is near a pellet stove, so this I picked that when I picked that plant up, I realized it was drier than I thought still. So I guess I'm just picking off any sheaths, dead leaves, etc. while I've got it there. Because I kind of do that with, like I said, plants where they just don't fall off on their own or they just keep hanging out forever. I will pick them off. But for the most part, dead leaves, they don't bother me if it's just one here, one there, whatever. But if they never, ever, ever want to come off, I'm going to pull them off eventually. I know I said I don't worry about dead leaves, and I really don't, but there comes a point when they can't take up real estate any longer. That's such a pretty plant. Oh, battery died. I put it back. That is what? Maranta lucanera. And I was looking at it the other day. It usually hangs, well, there it is. I was looking at it the other day and it was just looking really rugged. So I brought it out there, even though it really didn't need water yet. Something was going on with it because leaves were like dying and turning brown. I realized when I showed you that plant the other day that Syngonium albo, the cuttings that are in that pot, it was dry. It was really dry. So I finally got around to watering that. But yeah, the Maranta lucanera, I'm not sure what's going on with that plant. Something has made it unhappy. Well, we'll see one reason it was unhappy, but I don't see any pests on these plants, but because something seems to be going on with the Maranta, that's why I went ahead and started spraying it, because just because I don't see anything doesn't mean anything. I'm hard of seeing. I can't see. So I did go ahead and spray it just as like preventative maintenance. See all these dead leaves? I'm getting ready to pull a whole bunch of them out of here. Like handfuls. Look at the amusement on my face. But yeah, it's like so much of it. They just crawled right up. It looks like when they die, this is a weird thing, pork rinds. That's kind of what they remind me of. It looks like somebody dumped a bag of pork rinds into the pot. That's dumb. I have no sense. None. But yeah, it was doing really good until all of a sudden, like, it probably wasn't all of a sudden. It just seemed like it to me because, like I said, I have not been on the ball with watering and plant care here lately. But it's that time of year when I really need to start because things need to be repotted and pulled and propagated and, all the things. This poor thing. This is one, yeah, I decided, because it was really bald on top. I didn't show you. I don't know why I didn't think to move the camera over there. Yeah, I do. It's that juice in that brown bottle. Made my thinking slow. So, but anyway, it was, sparse on top. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll take a few cuttings, and I'm just showing you that I'm trying to get these little elbows. That's the spot I want because that's the spot that's going to root. But I got this plant anyway as cuttings from a friend, and then I got a little bitty pot of it from Lowe's to try to fill in that planter. And it was going pretty good until it wasn't, Yeah, I just realized that's not in the soil at all. It was just kind of dangling there. So that explains why that side wasn't looking so great. There's no roots or anything. No roots or anything. I don't know if I broke it and didn't realize that I broke it. I have no idea what happened there. Or when I broke it. I suspect maybe somebody hit this piece of wood here um, recently because there was a light on top of it. And my husband stole that light because he also cannot see. And that it went wonk up and hit that and broke it. Does that sound like a theory? I don't know. But anyway, I was going to stick that whole piece in there, and then I was like, no, that's a lot to support on one little stem. So I'm like checking it out and debating chopping it. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to separate that. You know, in hopes that with a little bit less for each piece to support, that it will root and grow. I have no doubt that I'm going to lose some leaves, and they might not all take. They might not. There's a couple one-leafers. Yeah, there's one. And then that one's, I think that's the piece with the most leaves there. And then another one-leafer. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to try it. The leaves aren't curled up yet, so that's good. But it's only been, I don't know, not even 24 hours yet. So they'll sustain themselves for a little while just on their own merit, even without leaves or roots. Not for long, but I'm hoping it'll root. The humidity in this room is better than in that room, the room that I'm in where you see me doing the planty things right now, which you'd think it wouldn't be that bad because there's a dishwasher there, coffee maker, the sink, and then like that way is my bathroom, and it's got a shower in it, and people do actually use the shower in that bathroom, so always empty, always out of water. That little bitty thing, I don't know why I'm still using it, but I've been using it for years and years and years. Like, I could buy a bigger one. I could. I used to use a cup for a long time. A cup. I would refill that cup 800 times if I had to. Yep, just spraying it again. I just really wanted everything saturated. No, but like I said, I don't know. Like, my hope is that if there were any pests on it, that I've at least knocked some of them down. Like, that's my goal with all this water. That and knock off any dust or anything like that that might be hanging out, because everything's dusty in here. If you have birds and 87 dogs and 87 cats and a pellet stove, you have dust. You have a lot of dust. You have cobwebs and full-ass huge dust bunnies. Like my dust bunnies, you know that it's some sort of cartoon rabbit and it's got like really sharp teeth and it's angry and it has red eyes. Like that. Or the rabbit from Donnie Darko. Those are my dust bunnies. But yeah, now I've got mud all over my hands. Oh, now I'm just trying to clean up the syngonium. It wasn't too bad. You can see there's some crispy bits here and there. But like I said, that plant is so neglected. It's underwatered half the time. It sits on the floor, like over here in a corner. There's grow lights in that corner, but still, it's on the floor. Most of the time I don't run the heat in this room. I could, but I just usually don't. Because I am a very hot person. Hot flashes. Yeah. More water. That's probably the third time I'd filled up that little mister too. I went through quite a bit of water. That's like Ripsalis granulosa or pseudo Ripsalis. It hasn't grown much this winter. But, you know, I have plans for it in the spring / summer. It'll grow. Just putting my stuff back. Smacking out any extra water. Drip, drip. What am I cutting now? Oh, more crispy bits. I guess they're not crispy when they're soggy with that much water. But either way, brown bits. And most of those brown bits came from the white bits. The white bits really do not appreciate an underwatering on pretty much any plant that I know of anyway. Those are always the first to go. I'm sorry, my bird keeps hollering. She's just excited about life. I don't know what the little shaky shake was for. I think it was for 'cause why not? Now I'm gonna go put it away after it stops weeing everywhere. There we go. Oh, last one. That is the philodendron mottled dragon. And I'm just watering it. There's nothing else wrong with this plant for once. I just watered it, and I'm trying to get that stick to stay a little bit more upright. That bamboo stick. I'm still using them. Just doesn't want to. It got a little bit better after I held it up and watered it in, but not much. Not much. I have 2 of those now because that was the mother plant and I propagated it. And I wouldn't say that the modeling is any better on the second one. Checking for pests. But it looks great. The second one looks better than the first one now. And I really want to get them on a pole, I think, together in the same pot. It's an interesting leaf shape. I'm just giving it a rinse. I don't see anything, but it is dusty, as usual. Yeah, everything's... Okay, so that was the first installation of spring plant chores, spring plant care, all of those things. I don't know if you should call it a chore. It's kind of something I enjoy doing. It's just I'm having a hard time keeping up with all of it right now because there are 500 plants in here, roughly, give or take a few. So, you know, it's a lot. And I've got other things going on in life right now. So I'm playing catch up. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.